Hi, and welcome back to another monthly market update for the Columbus, Ohio real estate market. As always, I'm Ryan Deeter with Key Realty, and in today's video, we do a deep dive into the August 2024 numbers as we're sitting here towards the end of September, reflecting back on last month, as always. So this month we did see something that I haven't seen in Columbus for a little while, so stick around to check that out. But also, we're sitting here a week away from the Federal Reserve lowering interest rates by 0.5%. We're going to talk about how that will impact the market as well and mortgage rates. So stay tuned as we dive into all that information. Before I jump in, I do want to say one thing real quick. For those who have reached out to me or have chatted with me about how useful these videos are, I really appreciate it. And if you could help me out by liking the video or subscribing, and so other people can find these videos, that would be wonderful as well. So thank you for tuning in, and hopefully this information is helpful for you. Let's help other people find it as well. All right, as you can see here, I've got the Columbus, Ohio Realtors data that they put out for us on their website. If you're interested in finding this for yourself, please go to the website, look at the resources page. You can go back, several years and look at all the data. But again, this is for the whole region of Columbus. So we're looking at a snapshot of the Columbus area, and we'll talk more about specific locations here shortly and how important that is. But this gives us a general idea of what's going on in the Columbus area for you if you're interested in the numbers as at large, looking at big picture here. So the first thing that it reports is the closed sales, and that's something that as consumers doesn't really mean a whole lot to you out of context. So I want to put it in context a little bit. In 2021, we saw some record years of sales, and we think that as population would grow, that we'd continue to see more sales happening. But that's not been the case since 21, 23, and as interest rates went up, we saw the number of closed homes kind of fall with that. So that's why it's also kept the market kind of balanced in a lot of ways and grow and seen a lot of growth, because even though interest rates went up, the number of homes listed have come down somewhat, and has kept the supply and demand balance in check. And so with that said, kind of give you some context. I think this is 21. Yeah. So 21, you see here in 2021, we saw almost 1,000 more homes. So 3,000 and close to 700 homes sell compared to 2,700 this last August. So we're seeing 1,000 more homes a month sell compared to 21. And the crazy part, I'm going to kind of jump ahead here, kind of scroll down here, is the month supply of inventory. You see the inventory of homes was actually under the amount of homes selling, which just means that, people were finding ways to, sell homes, even, creating inventory as well. So this is a little bit different market today, obviously, and we're going to get into the inventory in a second. But the things we want to talk about too is in contract. We saw there's 3,000 homes in contract. There will be several of those that fall out, and so we'll probably roughly see about the same number of closed homes as well. And so going into the next data points they talk about, and this is what I like to focus on with these, is the average price, the median price, and the average price per square foot. Like looking at these holistically, we notice now that we're not seeing these huge numbers in appreciation. Again, going back to 21, to jumping 2 years ago, we saw double digits appreciation. Now we're seeing low single digits, 1%, 1.5% to 2% of these numbers. Again, I like to look at these holistically to kind of get a big picture of what's going on. And we're seeing, what I would consider very low appreciation for the Columbus area. In fact, I think this may be the lowest appreciation rates in a single month that I have seen in the Columbus market in the last 10 years or so. I didn't look at every month, but this is, just from, looking back a little bit and also my memory, this is what I don't remember anything under really 2 to 3. So, but we're still seeing, year to date, fairly average appreciation rates. 5% is really, or at least it was several years ago, the average nationally across the board since, kind of the data has been tracked. So we're still seeing average throughout the year. So it's not been necessarily an awful year for Columbus. It's just a month that's a little slower. And I am not surprised by this. In fact, I know that, the market kind of hit a wall back in June. And if you talk to people, I feel like that's kind of what people are talking about a little bit, is like, hey, it's kind of a slower market right now. A lot of agents are saying homes that normally would have sold quick are kind of sitting on the market, not getting as many showings as they would expect, and definitely not as many offers as they would expect. And they're just, taking a little longer to sell, or not selling for as much as they thought they would based on kind of the data. And so with that said, I'm not surprised to see some slowdown. Does this mean that, Columbus is, in a, you know, a place where it's going to change to a buyer's market? Maybe, maybe not. I think it's going to help create a little bit more balanced market. We were going 1,000 miles per hour in this last few years, and I think now we're going, maybe still moving fast, but still, still moving forward, but not quite as fast as we were. And it feels like we're going backwards because of that sometimes. But remember that, this is still a very, you know, balanced market. And in fact, it's outpacing most of the country right now when it comes to, pricing and stuff like that. And I think I got the national. Yeah, this is the Federal Reserve of St. Louis does a really good job on statistics on national data. And here you can see the average price of all homes in the country. And you can see it actually peaked in quarter 2 of 22 and then kind of has been kind of up and down since then. And this is quarter 2 of 24. We're seeing about, $25,000 difference in the average price. And so, some areas, the average has gone backwards year over year. Columbus is still moving forward. So just give you some context there too. And again, it's still not like, you're going to get a huge discount on homes. We're still seeing homes sell for close to 100% of the list price. It's down to 98%, which is a fairly strong market. You're still getting 98% of the list price that, and this is the average home too. This is not just necessarily the, all homes that are still, desirable and in locations that people want are still selling for top dollar, maybe over list, depending on where. This is all dependent on how the agent or the sellers market the house with the price point as well. There's a lot of factors going into that, but people are still paying close to full price. Days on market have obviously gone up. 4 days, not a tremendous amount, but still a little bit longer. Every month every, kind of, year over year, we're starting to see this come up, slowly. But, the longer it goes, the longer, it takes to sell a home. And so buyers have to be, or sellers have to be a little more patient as, we're seeing that go up. Will that change? Maybe. But we're still seeing on average, 12% higher year over date. So new listings, we are seeing a little higher new listings, not a ton, not compared to last year, really, really fractional, not much enough to make a difference in the market, in my opinion. But again, going to median price received and median list price is roughly the same as the average as well. So the thing I want to focus on too is inventory. Inventory has come up, a good amount, significantly since, almost a whole percent in the last few years. We're seeing a lot of homes that aren't selling, sitting on the market, and sometimes getting taken off the market, maybe because they have low interest rates, they're able to not sell it and rent it out instead. So we're seeing, homes sit and then maybe not sell, and that's why we're still seeing a higher inventory than we would have in 21, because we're seeing a lot of homes that, which is the normal in a more balanced market, homes that are overpriced or just not as desirable, not selling as quick or sitting on the market for a long time. So we're seeing the inventory rise, which will help buyers, in as buyers have more options with just inventory that sits a little longer. Again, they say a balanced market can be anywhere from around 6 months. So we're still not near that mark. We're still around two months inventory, which means that if no new homes hit the market in 2 months, if this number of sales continue, that all the homes will be gone in 2 months. Still a healthy market when it comes to appreciation and seeing growth in a market. So with that said, that's kind of where we are in this market. I think it's a slower market, obviously a slower market than it has been the last few years and even few months, but it's just a little bit more patient market. Still a way to get top dollar in this market. You still have to understand how to position your house, and it goes back to the fundamentals of location, condition, and then market timing. Understanding those three things is critical to getting your house sold and or getting a good price on a house if you're looking to buy. And so, yeah, so one thing I do want to talk about is the question I've been getting a lot is about interest rates. And I want to touch on that. This is a chart from Mortgage News Daily that they put out. They survey all these banks and they say, okay, what's the average price or average interest rate their buyers are getting? And you can see here, this is the data they compile. And so what I've been getting, we're about a week out of the Federal Reserve making the announcement that they dropped rates 0.5%. And so I've been getting a question asked, well, will we start seeing mortgage rates come down, and will buyers then come back in the market because mortgage rates have come down enough where they can now afford more house and make it easier for them to buy. So the short answer is we won't see a huge drastic drop right away since the news, mainly because the mortgage industry has already built in their drop. So we've already seen, if you can tell here, we saw the peak back in, what is this, 23 at almost 8%. They dropped it, quite a bit. It creeped back up this last spring to 7, almost 7.5. And now we're down to the low sixes, so it's already been this just the last 3 months since May. We've already seen a whole percent drop in the mortgage industry. So this drop was kind of built into the announcement that the Federal Reserve was planning on making a rate cut. And so that's what the mortgage industry does. They try to kind of anticipate or even speculate what the Federal Reserve is going to do, and they build in that, prior to that announcement. And so moving forward, if the Federal Reserve continues to indicate that they are going to continue to drop rates. Therefore, we continue to see mortgage rates drop along with that as well. So we start, they're looking at the data, they're looking at, inflation rates, looking at job rates and all that stuff. So that as long as those things stay on the positive when it comes to what the Federal Reserve is going to do, we should continue to see this number go down, at a nice pace. My guess it'll start, we saw it actually creep up a little over the last few days. Just shows that, that rate cut doesn't have that, major of an impact at the moment. But as long as the narrative is from the Federal Reserve that more rate cuts are coming, we should see these numbers go down as well. So hopefully that's helpful for you. Hopefully this gives you insight of what's going on in the landscape of the Columbus, Ohio real estate market. And if you're wanting to make a decision on whether to buy, sell, or invest in Columbus, I am always happy to have a conversation with you about your individual needs, because as there is, in my opinion, right now, a lot of confusion in the market. There's a lot of confusion going on, and when there's more confusion, it makes it harder to make a decision. And you also got to have, more expertise on your side. So one thing to consider when we're looking at the big picture is not necessarily looking at Columbus as a whole, as we're starting to see this number get a lot lower. 3 years ago, you could have just thrown, money at any location and decided, and you probably would have been okay and got some appreciation in any location in Columbus. Now it gets a lot trickier as you got to focus on certain areas, and the Columbus board does break it down into municipalities and also counties. So with that said, if you're looking to move to a certain area, it'd be wise of you to understand what's going on in that area in particular. So you can see here there's some in the positive, really high positive, and there's some, really negative, which is going to continue to average out, as a whole Columbus. But understanding which areas are growing quickly and which areas, aren't growing when it comes to appreciation is going to be very vital to you to understand how aggressive to be or where to price your house. And so, and don't just look at 1 month when it comes to, an area, because you may have an outlier that month where, one or two nice homes, really nice homes that are done really well. There's three factors that indicate pricing. It's location, condition, and market timing. And if someone has a really nice house in a really nice location and it's going to sell for top dollar versus someone that has a terrible location and a terrible condition, is going to skew the number. So just look out, look at the last several months to see where your area is trending, and that'll give you a better idea versus just one. So this hopefully is a little bit more helpful if you're looking for an area or you're looking to sell your house in a certain area as well. So again, hopefully this is helpful. Happy to have individual conversations. Please share and like this if you know anyone else that would be interested in learning more about this information. As always, I'm available, and we'll see you next time.